Hey guys, this is Chris Kermis and today I'm in Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina. So this is the main square on the former Ottoman side of Sarajevo's centre. Now this square is known as Pigeon Square nowadays for pretty obvious reasons when you look at the residents. It's an absolute hive of activity already. That's just amazing. I've seen a lot of city squares covered in pigeons in my life, but this is something different. They're all on the rooftops as well. They're just everywhere. And according to local legend, they say that if you drink water from this fountain, you'll return to Sarajevo someday. I love this part of the city. It feels more like the Middle East than anything else. You got these small buildings, mosques dominating the skyline, vibrant bazaars, tiny streets. It's just wonderful around here. It's completely different. So this is basically the main street of the old city. Now it may just be lunchtime on a pretty cloudy day, but these streets are absolutely packed full of life. There's so many people here. So many people walking the streets, going to the shops, going to the restaurants. It's a fascinating place so far. So I'm just going to walk along here to the Gazi Huzrev Beg Mosque. This is supposedly the biggest mosque in the country. And just by the mosque here, we have the clock tower, which is actually linked to the lunar cycles and Islamic prayer. This is an absolutely fascinating place, this side of the old town. It's just filled with these little winding streets. Everything on a kind of small scale around here, but just beautiful and completely different. Well, I think it's definitely time to grab some lunch, and what better place to do it than in the former Ottoman side of town. So many great food places down here, all these little streets, so let's go. Okay, I've stopped off for lunch at a place called Hodzik. This comes recommended to me as a great place to try ćevapi. Now, ćevapi is available basically all over the Balkan countries, but what people say is it basically comes from here and it's best here in Sarajevo. So, of course I got to put that to the test, of course I got to try it. Everyone's eating it here, so that's what I'm going to order. Let's give it a try. So here we go guys, first time trying real Sarajevo ćevapi. So it comes like kind of a big kebab with this really nice fresh bread, bunch of onions there, and then of course the meat itself, which is just like little koftas basically. So let's give it a try. Oh wow, it's got a lovely flavour. Super meaty. Quite a thick texture on it. And then nice little char as well, but really quite nice and greasy. In a good way. Only thing is, I'm not quite sure how I should be eating it. Should I pick up the whole thing, bread and all, just shove them in there along with the onions? Should I just do a little bit at a time? I'm really not sure. I'm sure you're going to tell me in the comments below. So this is probably not going to be the most elegant thing you've ever seen, but hey, if you've watched my channel before, you should know what to expect by now. Try the sandwich way. That's lovely. And you could just eat this any time of day. I could have this for breakfast, lunch, dinner, or late night snack. And this is it. Sarajevo is really a city that connects both the east and the west. This marker on the street is literally a point where it changes from this side, the former Ottoman Islamic side, to this side, the more European Christian Austro-Hungarian side. Literally, just a point on the street where the whole city changes. It's just incredible. You see how the city just changes completely all of a sudden. Within a stone's throw from a mosque, you've got a Christian church. You've got completely different architecture, this Western European feel to it. Just literally stepping over one line. And stepping out onto this square on the European side of the city, everything is very different from the Pigeon Square, the other side. We've got the Sacred Heart Cathedral here, built in the Gothic style in the 19th century. Just a completely different feeling. Could be in Austria here. And then wherever you look in the city, you see the hills and the mountains as well, surrounding the city. It's really beautiful. Now Sarajevo is a city with a very complex history, and it's not one I'm even going to be able to scratch the surface of in this video today. But it is home to one event which could be said to have changed world history forever. Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria, the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, was assassinated just behind me with his wife Sophie on the 28th of June 1914. This led to the July Crisis, which in turn led to the Austro-Hungarian Empire declaring war on Serbia, the event that basically sparked off World War I. It's mind-blowing to think what a different world could exist if these events hadn't transpired here. And then the surprises keep on coming here. This is the archaeological ruins of the Tazlahan Caravanserai, but I just walked past this by accident, looked at the description plate that's up there, and yeah, this is an ancient caravanserai. The original building next door to us, this is clearly being renovated and is being used for a modern market. Lovely preservation of this archaeological site. There's this walkway here. You see the kind of fancy modern cafe and Hotel Europa to one side. Nicely done here, the old and the new. But sadly, Sarajevo is a city scarred by war in fairly recent history. Just 30 years ago, the siege of Sarajevo started. The city was besieged by Serbian forces for 4 years, the longest blockade of a capital city in modern history. 11,500 people lost their lives here alone. What's become known as the Sarajevo Rose is a sad reminder of what happened here. They're basically memorials for where fatal mortar strikes hit the city. The craters have been filled with red resin to commemorate the dead there. And so I head now out of the old city into a newer part of the city, towards a place that during the siege became known as Sniper Alley. Behind me is the hotel where many journalists and press workers would stay during the siege. It was seen as relatively safe inside the hotel, but as soon as they stepped out that door, their lives were at risk. It's impossible and unreasonable to ignore the atrocities that have happened here when you're visiting somewhere like Sarajevo, but at the same time, having an understanding of the history, it's important to just see what the city's becoming since. Let's not dwell on the negative. Let's be aware of the story, absolutely. Tell just a little tiny bit of that story, but then move on to see what the city's becoming. You'll see the scars like this on buildings all over the city, riddled with bullet holes. What makes it all the more real here, though, it's just an apartment block where people live their normal lives and still hasn't yet been cleaned up. They say that within 10 years, maybe all the signs of war will be gone from this city. Bosnia is a very progressive society, and the younger people are suddenly very optimistic about the future of the country. It feels very vibrant, and it feels very safe to be a tourist here. It's a country that's still recovering, however, and you can see there's still a long way to go. Now here's a new skyscraper behind me that didn't exist in the bad times. The Azaz Twist Tower was completed in 2008. It's 40 stories high, and there's supposed to be an observation deck on the 36th. So let's go and take a look and have a look over the modern Sarajevo. Well, that's a bargain. 2 marks to come up here, so that's about €1, $1. Absolutely nothing to climb a high point up a tower like this. In a lot of cities it would cost probably 10 times that, probably even more. And that's basically it, folks, my time in Sarajevo. This has been a super interesting city to explore. I really enjoyed my time here. It's so kind of vibrant and different. The history is interesting, but the place is just fascinating nowadays. Now, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'd love to know what you think in the comments below. Don't be shy with that like button if you got this far. And please hit subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time, guys.